A Boy Grows in Brooklyn by Ernest A. Naples. Chapter 55. The Daily News as the New Kid on the Block. Narrated by Bruce Naples. I remember when the Daily News was born. I recently got notice that a new boy would deliver my daily news. During the first week, he showed that he had some novel ways of delivering it. In a snowdrift, impaled on my rose bush, on my neighbor's stoop, and gone with the wind. Come payday, we had a little powwow during which I explained to him the proper way to deliver the paper. I told him it was the way I was taught when I was a daily news delivery boy. He looked at my gray hair and stooped shoulders, but refrained from asking how long ago that was. I could have told him that it was back in 1919, some 67 years ago, when I was a boy of 14. I remember it well. The day the Daily News came off the press for the first time, I looked out of my bedroom window, which was right over Irving's stationery store on Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn. It was 5 a.m. Seeing the bundles of newspapers on the sidewalk, I dressed and rushed down to the street just as Irving was opening the shop door. I let the other papers lay and grabbed the 2 daily news bundles. In the store, Irving handed me a knife to cut the cords, and then made up my route. My pay for the week was $1, 25% of which was for the Sunday deliveries. I did my best to introduce the new tabloid to my Brooklyn neighbors, giving out, at Irving's request, many free copies to acquaint them with this new concept of journalism. The idea worked. My route grew, and Irving doubled my pay. It wasn't easy in those days to change people's reading habits, when for generations their families subscribed to such papers as the Brooklyn Standard Union, the Daily Times, Brooklyn Citizen, and the staid-old Brooklyn Daily Eagle, which published continuously for 105 years. The new kid on the block versus the rest of the newspapers. The competition did not end there. The day I carried the infant Daily News in my arms, other publishing giants cast ominous dark shadows over the new kid on the block. Waiting to watch Johnny-come-lately fall flat on its face were such publications as the New York Herald, the Sun, the Evening World, the New York Post, and the New York Evening Journal. William R. Hearst threw in a late starter, the copycat Daily Mirror. At the time, some people thought it was meant as a knockout punch aimed at the Daily News. If so, it missed, and eventually the Mirror stumbled off into oblivion. The Daily News met all competition, and in time, all of the newspapers mentioned here stopped their presses and faded off into the sunset. One could state with certainty that no newsman or woman anywhere got much joy or comfort from the failure of a competitor, knowing full well that such a tragedy could happen to them. There was one skeptic in the early days who thought the young Daily News would never make it. He had a long-established news service, which he operated from his home, and his name was Mr. Ferguson. He gave me a sour look as we met one day. I carried a bundle of Daily News on my shoulder strap, and he had an assortment of other brands in his. Pointing at my papers, he said, Don't waste your time. It won't last. They'll never read it. I passed on that one. Some of my customers didn't read, but they sure liked the pictures and the funnies. That was 67 years ago. So much for predictions. When one considers that the average newspaper reader takes less than an hour to peruse the paper and then discard it, you have to wonder how the people who produce it every day, year in and year out, feel when they pass a rubbish basket and see their latest production neatly deposited therein. I worked for the New York Herald and the Law Journal and the New York Journal-American. Newspaper men and women in every branch of production are a special breed, who together as a team perform a miracle every day and then, putting it behind them, get ready for the next day and the next miracle. There is something great about being on a team like that.